اهلا بيكم طلاب الصف الثاني الاعدادي في البث المباشر على صفحه مدرستنا 2. طبعا انا معاكم ميس بسنت في ماده الساينس. هنبتدي مع بعض نجاوب مجموعه من الاسئله اللي جات لنا على الصفحه، ونبدا نشوف كده ازاي نقدر نجاوب عليها بطريقه تكون نموذجيه. طب تعالى نبتدي كده باول سؤال which is write a scientific term. Sound waves of frequencies less than 20 hertz. We said that the sound waves are divided into three types. We have sonic sound waves, ultrasonic, infrasonic waves. Which one of them? It's the sound wave of frequencies less than 20 hertz. Of course, it's the infrasonic waves. Type. The second question, a medium doesn't allow light rays to penetrate through. We said that medium doesn't allow light to pass through. It's called what? It's called opaque medium. Type. Changing the path of light when it travels from a transparent medium to another transparent medium of different optical density. This is the definition of the light refraction. Again, light refraction, it's called what, or it's considered as changing the path of light when travels from a transparent medium to another transparent medium of different optical density. Type. Here I have another type of the questions which choose the correct answer. Sound of frequency 200 hertz is space than sound of frequency 100 hertz. Of course, if I have a sound of frequency 200 hertz is the harsher than or sharper than or stronger or weaker than sound of frequency 100 hertz. طيب, I said that the sound property that depend on the frequency, it's the sound what? It's the sound pitch. طيب, so here I'm going to choose from sharper or harsher. And I said if I have a sound with high frequency, in this case it's going to be what? High pitched sound, يعني sharp sound. So the sound of frequency 200 hertz is sharper than the sound of frequency 100 hertz. The second one, when the distance between the source of light and the surface as a wall decreases. So the light intensity on the surface is decreased or increases or doubled or remains constant. Here I'm talking about the relation between the distance and the light intensity. When the distance decreases, of course, the light intensity will increase, because we know, or we studied together, that the light intensity is inversely proportional to the square distance. يعني if the distance between the sound source and the ear is already, sorry, here I'm talking about light. If the distance between the light source and the wall increases, the light intensity will decrease. And what about if the distance ما بين the source of light و surface, like a wall, it's going to decrease, so the light intensity will increase. طيب, the next question, when a light ray travels from a transparent medium of a higher optical density to another of lower optical density, the angle of space is more than the angle of space. طيب, it travels from what to what? From transparent medium of higher optical density. Higher optical density يعني low speed, to another of lower optical density يعني the light, its speed is going to increase. Okay, so from low velocity to high velocity, so in this case the angle of incidence is B less than the angle of refraction, or the angle of refraction is B or is more than the angle of incidence. So again here the angle of refraction is more than what? Is more than the angle of incidence. Type. Here I need you to write to put right or wrong. The angle between the reflected light ray and the normal at the point of incidence on the separating surface is more than the angle between the incident light ray and the normal at the point of incidence, at the point of reflection. Of course, what? Of course, no. We said the angle of incidence equal what? Equals the angle of reflection. Okay, type. The ability of the medium to refract light, it's called the refractive index of medium. Of course, no. We said the ability of medium to refract light, it's called what? It's called optical density. It's called what? Optical density. Type. Another type of the questions. Here I need you to write the scientific term. It's the ratio between the velocity of light through air to the velocity of light through transparent medium. It's called what? It's called the refractive index of a medium. Again, the ratio between the velocity of light through air to the velocity of light through transparent medium. It's called what? It's called refractive index of a medium. طيب, it's the angle between the reflected light ray and the normal at the point of at the point of incidence on the separating surface. This is called what? This is called the angle of reflection. The angle of what? Reflection. Again, it's the angle between reflected light ray and the normal at the point of incidence on the reflecting surface. On what? Reflecting surface. Okay. Type. What about if I asked you to give reason for the light that falls perpendicular on reflecting surface reflects on itself? Why, if I have a light ray fall perpendicular on a reflecting surface, it will reflect on itself? I said this is because of what? Because the angle of incidence equals the angle of reflection, and it equals what? It equals 0. Type. When the light ray travels from air to water, it refracts near to the normal. Why? When the light ray travels from air to water, it's going to refract near to the normal. Because what? Because the optical density of the air is less than the optical density of water. So the velocity of light through air is more than the velocity of light through the water. So the light will refract near to the near to the normal. What about if I asked you to give reason for occurrence of mirage phenomenon in desert regions at noon? Why we have mirage phenomena happen or occurs in the desert regions at noon? We said this is because of what? Because of the light reflection and refraction. This happens because of what? Light reflection and light refraction. Okay. Here I need you to write the mathematical relation that joins between each of the following. Here you are going just to mention the rule, to mention the mathematical relation that join these factors together. The first one, the photon frequency and its energy. Do you remember we said the photon energy, it equals what? It equals Planck's constant multiply the frequency. Multiply what? The frequency. So the rule here, or the mathematical relation, you are going to write what? The photon energy equals the Planck's constant multiply the frequency. Okay, the sound frequency and number of teeth of each gear in Schwarz's wheel. So the relation here that combine or that join the frequency with the number of gear teeth, that the frequency equals what? The frequency equals the number of cycles multiply the number of gear teeth divided by the time. So again, you are going to mention what? The rule that join the frequency with the number of gear teeth. You are going to write the frequency equals what? It equals number of cycles multiply the number of gear teeth divided by the time. Okay, now what are the results due to each of the following? What are the results that they are going to happen? What happens when incidence of light ray on a rough surface? Here I have a light ray, it's going to fall on a rough surface. Of course, I know that the rough surface is going to reflect the light in different directions. So the light is going to be reflected in different directions and forming what? Forming irregular reflection. What will happen when incidence of a white light ray on one face of a glass prism? What is going to happen when the light fall on a glass prism? Of course, the glass prism is going to split the white light into 7 spectrum colors. So the white light is going to split into 7 colors, which are called 7 spectrum colors. Okay, here another question, write the scientific term. Sound waves of frequencies less than 20 hertz, we said they are called what? They are called infrasonic waves. Sound waves of frequencies more than 20 kilohertz. So this sound waves, they are called what? They are called ultrasonic waves. It's the medium that allow most light to pass through. allow most light to pass through. It's called what? It's called transparent medium. It's called what? Transparent medium. Okay, it's a sound property by which the ear can distinguish between strong sound and weak sound. Do you remember the sound property that allowed or help the ear to distinguish between weak sound or strong sound? It's called what? It's called sound intensity. It's called what? Sound intensity. Okay, type. It's a sound waves of frequency ranges between 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So in this case, I'm talking about what? I'm talking about the sonic waves. Sonic waves, they are the sound waves that have a frequency ranges between 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Okay, type. It's an external factor that affects the ears, causing the sense of hearing. Again, it's external factor that affects the ears and causing what? Causing the sense of hearing. This is what? This is the sound. This is what? The sound. Okay, type. Another question. It's the external factor that affect the sense of affect the eye, causing the sense of vision. This is called what? This is called the light. So again, if I have external factor affect the ear, causing the sense of hearing, this is what? This is the sound. But if I have external factor that affect the eyes, causing the sense of vision, this is called what? This is called the light. Okay, it's the angle between the incident light ray and the normal at the point of incidence on the reflecting surface. It's called what? It's called angle of incidence. Type. It's the ability of the medium to refract light rays. We said it's called what? It's called optical density. Okay, type. What is going to happen when a light ray fall perpendicular to the interface between two transparent media of different optical density? Here I have a light ray and it's going to fall perpendicular on the interface between two different transparent media of different optical density. In this case, the light will pass without refraction. The light will pass without refraction. Okay, type. Here I have a question. Write the scientific term. The reflection in which the light rays recoil in many directions when falling on a rough surface. This is called what? This is called irregular reflection. Irregular reflection. Do you remember when we said we have two types of reflection? We have regular reflection and irregular reflection. Regular, when the light rays fall on a smooth shiny surface, so the light rays will reflected in one direction. But in the irregular reflection, the light rays will reflected on different directions because they fall on what? They fall on a rough surface. Okay, type. Okay, it's a sound. It's a sound property that help the ear to differentiate between sharp voice and harsh voice, or to differentiate between sound of man or sound of woman. It's called what? It's called sound intensity. It's called sound pitch. Type. Here I needed to mention the 5 factors affecting on the sound intensity. Do you remember when we talked about the sound intensity and we said we have 5 factors affecting on the sound intensity, starting with the distance, and we said that the sound intensity is inversely proportional to the square distance, and the second factor is the wind, and we said if the sound travel with the wind, it's going to be a strong sound. If the sound travel in the opposite direction of the wind, so it's going to be a weak sound. The third factor is the medium density. The fourth factor is the amplitude and its direct relation between them. بكده نكون وصلنا لنهاية البث، وأتمنى أن أنا أشوفكم المرات الجاية إن شاء الله، وشكرا.